Hello and welcome to Fractally Feedback. After every week's meeting, you get to hear from me what I thought, as well as my system design perspective, my geometric perspective of fractals, and what I think we can do to improve. Now, today, I am not going to be critical. I'm very, very pleased with the entire meeting. My favorite part was our after party, where at the very end it was just me, Andrew, and Dan Singjoy, and we talked about music. And at that moment, I was very, very, very grateful to be there with those two people, and I guess saw a new light of Fractally, which I always knew was there, but this was one of the first real experiences where I felt something I wanted to do, a future goal of having decentralized music parties called Soulfest. This goal was now being fulfilled through me being right there, right then at that meeting. And to me, that's the hugest benefit. And thank you to all the community members which are bringing that up. And yeah, while we're talking about it, that's something that we did bring up in the meeting. Apparently there's something in the white paper about a peer review where you go through and give each other feedback about how you think that they could operate better within the fractal. It's not something that we're doing, but we heard two sides of the argument about whether or not we should do that. The side against it was saying, people don't want to be criticized. And then I presented the counter argument that some people do want to be criticized, and I do want to be criticized. Sometimes when I make these videos, sometimes when I'm sharing my ideas, I am less than nice. And I'm coming from a vibration which I don't want to continue to walk with on this earth. So for me, sometimes I do need to hear that. I do need to be made uncomfortable in public so that I can, embody that emotion and want to grow from it. So I think that the idea of peer review and peer feedback, even if it's something informal where we just use the last few minutes of our meeting, if we reach consensus early, to share how each other could improve, I think that would be highly beneficial to me and hopefully highly beneficial to other people as well. Another reason I'm very happy about this meeting is that I got confirmation from James Mart that they were going to develop in public. They want to develop in public. I've been adamant that I want to see the pseudocode because I love data structures, and if the data structures are something I don't think is translatable to other fractals, meaning if we don't develop enough of a scaffolding that each fractal can implement this scaffolding and then interact because they're using this scaffolding, what we're going to have is we're going to have different fractals developing their own primitives, their own things, and then they can't interact. So I think that it is important at this stage to look at the pseudocode, to look at the data structures, and make sure that we're developing something that is not only extensible and that other people can take it, and that's something we're very good at. It's something that Dan is really gunning for, is like this idea of here's a sort of very broad criteria, you guys figure it out, right? But there are certain things, certain very, very hard data things that need to be figured out if we're going to have fractals work together. And this brings me to the next point, which is, are we learning from what we're discussing here? And the reason I was so happy about today's meeting is that I felt that a lot of the ideas that I had been expressing were being echoed. And what that shows me is whether or not I was the source that led to that echo, there are these ideas which are sort of echoing about. And a fractal shouldn't be me expressing and other people echoing. It should be me expressing and then another person expressing their own, and other people expressing these ideas, and then we all echo off each other. And then hopefully these echoes can reach the primary fractal, at this point Dan, but hopefully something more fractal in the future, and can reach the Fractally team and make a systematic change. Again, I've been very, very concisely vocal about how important I believe it is that the information that we are learning, the lessons that we are learning, and these are procedures, we are learning procedures to form consensus, that these can some way filter back into the primary fractal, into the main Fractally team, and then be further disseminated. So what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for a way that we can we can take these sort of ideas that we're testing out and sort of share them and share our experiences. And in the after party, one thing that Andrew Ware mentioned, what Andrew said is that we could just comment after we leave our consensus comment on Hive and comment about how we reach this consensus. So I think that's a good idea. It's certainly a start, but we do need a way to make sure that the lessons that we're learning can be used to benefit future fractals as well as future groups in our Genesis fractal. So I know I said I wasn't going to be critical, but I do want to share a few thoughts that I do believe are important and they should be thought about. And that is like, how do we compensate the Fractally team? In my group, we had 2 team members. They both explained what they were working on, but were not able to provide any actual evidence. They did not provide any screenshot when asked. They did not provide any link when asked. So the question became 2 parts. Number 1, if they're already getting paid by Fractally, why are we paying them in RESPEK? I'm not going to touch on that. And number 2, it brings us back to this point of how are we taking these contributions and making sure that they can be known. I've suggested multiple times that a Hive template, just a simple markdown template, would be a good way to deal with this, as well as we already have one. Patrick made one, and I think that if we got the slightest nod from the Fractally team, we could start using that. And that brings me to the next point. So we talked about this, about like, are we able to do everything we want to do, or should we be referencing the Fractally team, et cetera, et cetera. So there's this question of what are we allowed to do? And I truly feel like we should be allowed to do anything to contribute to Fractally. I also feel like that is the spirit of Fractally, is that we are empowered to do anything. But there's certain key things, like for example, this is a RESPEK token. It's not respect, it's RESPEK. So put some on my name. And this token is something that I just sort of, talked about at the after party, and was like, okay, whatever, I'll throw up a token and we'll see what happens. This is a forked repo. It includes actually liquidity pools and all the things that we need. So the question is, do I have authority to do this? Do I need authority to do this? And everybody said no. Everybody's basically like, yeah, do whatever you want. And in my mind, there's 2 sort of blocks that I think that the Fractally team could improve. And the first block is being invited. I think it's important for some people, and I'm one of those people that I do like to feel invited to something. I do like to be asked. So if the white paper was a little bit more concise about what they were asking for and how we can contribute, I think that would be better. And second of all is the idea of feeling that what our contributions are have the ability to be officially recognized by Fractally. So a perfect example is Patrick making his contributions primitive. I watched him talk to it about Dan Larimer, and Dan just kind of was like, yeah. So I would like to see more official, like saying, yes, we're going to use this for now. Because as we're exploring these processes, 2 things can happen. The first thing is that it just gets lost. When the information isn't connected, a tree falls in the forest, nobody's there to hear it, it's not going to ring any ears. So I think it's important that the Fractally team looks a little bit closer at our contributions and creates some sort of mechanism where we can share them. Because I believe the posting feature was disabled on Go Fractally, so we can't post a sort of free-form thing there. But I do think that as we're independently working on these processes, there does need to be some sort of centralized mechanism, at least to declare who is working on what and how's it going. And, Cambien, you have to have the feedback, so you have to have a comment section where people can share. And Go Fractally would work for that, Hive would work for that, but we do need some sort of direction from the top so that we feel that our contributions can be honored and that they're worth our time because they will be able to grow up. Right now I feel like not only me, but other people making valuable contributions, they should be more recognized, more cataloged, and more rewarded. And not with respect, but rewarded with recognition, rewarded with the ability to fully test it out by declaring that this is what we're working on right now. So yeah, I think that's super cool. And yeah, I'm considering making a RESPEK token. This is the code. I'm using the Curve SX contract. I'm gonna have to switch compiler versions, but if it gets up, I will let you know, and we will have some sort of a RESPEK, even if it's just a little plaything to play around with until we move to something better. And of course, this is not replacing RESPEK, obviously, but there's a lot of people within the community that would really like to see one real on-chain token transfer of RESPEK. So if I can make that happen, it's worth my time. And if I feel like I could be recognized and that we could somehow use this, if I felt like that was a possibility, which I don't, I would be more motivated. I do have great faith in the people of Fractally. I do have great faith that they will all want to use this. And that's another reason why my meeting was so good, is I'm focusing on the good. I'm focusing on the people. I'm not focusing on what I see wrong with the systemic designs. And all these people are incredible. All these people are great. And I love interacting with all of you every single week. And like, we can do this, and we are doing this. And not having Dan there at this meeting and it being like the best meeting, I think, for me, really shows like this is working. And if you're not a member yet and you're watching this, I'll post the invite link in the description, and come join us and let's have some fun at Fractally. Thanks again, and if you're looking for this token, it'll be respec.ice. Thanks for watching. Peace.